You've seen it online a million times, right? The classic who would win debate. But what if the real fight isn't about who can punch harder? What if it's a fundamental clash of realities? That's what we're diving into today, based on this amazing thought experiment. What happens when the ultimate symbol of hope gets dropped into a universe that literally survives on despair? So, let's get the big question out of the way. Superman versus the entire grimdark future. I mean, on paper, it sounds like an absolutely epic brawl. You've got the Man of Steel against legions of space marines, endless hordes of orcs, and literal gods of chaos. But the answer, well, it's not nearly that simple. Yeah, see, this isn't about power levels or who's got the bigger laser. According to this really cool imagined Imperial archive called the Superman Incursion, the real conflict is so much deeper, way stranger, and honestly, more tragic than just a fight. It's a battle for the very soul of reality itself.
Okay, so the first thing you absolutely have to get your head around is this. Superman's biggest opponent wasn't a person, it wasn't an army, it was the very fabric of the 40K galaxy. The whole conflict was basically baked into the physics of this reality from the second he showed up.
And here's where you see these two opposing laws of nature just slam into each other. In Superman's world, every single life has value. It's worth saving. But in the Imperium of Man, the main power in the 40K galaxy, humanity is just fuel. Trillions of lives are nothing more than a resource to be burned to keep extinction at bay for one more day. I mean, how can those two ideas possibly exist in the same space? They can't. So he didn't just land on some hostile planet. He landed in a hostile reality. As the source material puts it, this was a clash of moral physics. Think about that. He was basically an error message in the cosmic operating system, and the universe's laws were already written completely against him. So, how did the major powers of 40K react to this impossible being? Well, here's the crazy part. They couldn't really fight him because they couldn't even begin to understand him. His very existence just broke their whole system of reality. I mean, take the orcs, right? Their whole reality-bending psychic field, the Wa, right? It just fizzled out around him. He didn't play by their rules of violence, so the game just broke. Then you have the tech priests of Mars. They saw his perfect biology not as a miracle, but as straight-up heresy, because it didn't decay and it didn't need any worship. And chaos? The dark gods found nothing to grab onto. No pride, no rage, no fear. He was like a meal they couldn't digest. He basically starved them. And get this, the Adeptus Mechanicus gave him an official classification that wasn't strategic at all. It was metaphysical, an ontological anomaly. In their eyes, he wasn't just an enemy, he was a bug in the code of creation itself, a glitch in the matrix. Okay, but this is where the story gets really chilling. Because Superman's most powerful ability in the 40K universe wasn't his strength or his heat vision, no way. It was his ability to inspire hope. And to the Imperium, that was the single greatest threat you could possibly imagine. You have to understand, the Imperium runs on fear, it runs on desperation, and on the absolute unshakable belief that there is no better way. Hope dissolves all of that. It's like pouring water on a sandcastle. It makes soldiers question those suicide charges. It makes citizens wonder if all this endless grinding cruelty is really necessary. It just eats away at the very foundations of their control. So the people in charge, the Inquisition, they didn't see a savior. They saw a counter-narrative, an idea that could unravel their 10,000-year-old empire of suffering way more effectively than any alien invasion ever could. Hope was a disease, and Superman was patient zero. So, they can't beat him, they can't corrupt him, they can't control him. What's left? The Imperium turned to its last and most devastating weapon. I mean, all their usual tricks, brute force, co-option, propaganda, they were all completely useless against him. And that last resort wasn't a bigger gun. It wasn't a more powerful psyker. It was something so much more insidious. Their plan wasn't to kill his body, no. It was to try and kill his spirit. And their weapon of choice? The truth. So the Inquisition brings him to Terra, right to the heart of the Imperium, and they show him its dark, decaying secret. The Emperor of Mankind isn't some god sitting on a throne. He's a psychic corpse engine, kept in a state of living death for 10,000 years, his dying mind powering the psychic beacon that barely holds the Empire together. And this is the checkmate. This is the moment they trap him. They gave him an impossible choice. He could act on his principles, right? End the Emperor's horrific suffering. But if he does that, the Imperium collapses, chaos pours in, and a far worse damnation consumes everything and everyone. Or he could do nothing, violate everything he stands for, and allow this grotesque state of suffering to just continue, to buy a little more time. For the first time, he hesitated. What do you even do in that situation? That revelation, that impossible, soul-crushing choice, is what finally did it. It wasn't a defeat in battle. It was a moral and philosophical surrender. He finally realized that to truly save this universe, he couldn't just be a hero. He'd have to remake its entire society, its beliefs, its very infrastructure from the ground up. He'd have to force humanity to be better. And in doing that, he would just become another tyrant ruling from on high, the very thing he's always fought against. And so he left, not because he was beaten, but because the universe itself fundamentally rejected him. His entire ethical framework was just invalid there. This reality's very survival depended on the exact cruelty and despair that he exists to end. Ultimately, the story isn't about Superman's failure. It's about his incompatibility. In a place like Warhammer 40,000, a truly good person isn't a solution. They're a walking, talking paradox that the system literally cannot compute, and so it has to expel him. And that's maybe the most chilling takeaway from this whole thing. In a universe that is allergic to hope, the greatest hero in the multiverse becomes the most dangerous infection. It really leaves you wondering, doesn't it? What's more terrifying, a universe full of monsters or a universe where just being a hero is impossible?